when you go through things, right? Heartbreaking things like breakups or loss or something like that. Well, really, I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about breakups. People hurt you, and you go on these, you talk about it, and no one wants to hear you talk about it. Everybody wants to fund you. Like, yes, everybody's gonna be there for you. We said your real friends are the ones who stick around, and they're there for you. But in reality, this is your friends don't want to hear that shit. No one wants to actually be around a person who's sad, right? The smartest thing to do is like get away from everybody until you heal, until you stop talking about the situation. And I saw a post the other day, and it said that the girl said, I saw something. It was a girl made a post, and she said, I saw a post that said, are you healed, or did you just separate yourself from everybody? And I used to ask myself that all the time, because there was a point where I separated myself from everybody and I got my happy back. I was so happy. I was thriving. I was accomplishing things. I started gardening. It was just a good time. Yeah, I didn't have those bad memories to talk about because I wasn't experiencing them. That's why we have the feelings, is because we're going through the things in real time and they're hurting us, and we're expressing them. We're perseverating. We're trying to figure out how we feel. We're trying to figure out what happened. How did we get here? That's, you'll see, like, online, you'll see people making posts, and what do people say? Like, or commenting, oh, you need to heal. You're bitter. If you see bullshit and you call bullshit, they say you need to heal. Like, you just bitter, right? And I would like to think that I am healed. I just call bullshit because I've been through it and I've seen it, right? Doesn't mean I'm bitter, right? Like, you have people who can go through things and they've acquiesced to this society, right? Where they go through things and then they say, I'm good. Like, I'm not bothered. Like, that shit don't bother me. Like, we live another day. Like, we know they're crying. They just don't do it in front of everybody. And they just like, well, I'm unbothered, right? That is what society wants you to feel like healed is. When you're not feeling your feelings, then that means that you're healthy, right? This is what society says. If you're not talking about your pain, that means that you're healthy. It could mean that you got over it because time heals, right? But society says that if you're not talking about it and you're just smiling, you're healed from it. Now you should go back out there, get back out there, girl, and start dating. But when you get back out there and start dating and you see what people got going on, and like I said, you keep calling bullshit, they say, girl, you need to give these people a chance. Like, you don't know, you telling everybody to go away. So, but my thing is, you just go into every relationship open like you didn't learn nothing, accepting things like you didn't learn nothing. You don't have to be bitter, but you can't question nothing, because that means that you're not healed. I don't think that you're not healed. I don't think that you're healed. Like, you're healed when you take a step back and you get to reflect and you get to get your happy back, because you're not in the toxic situation anymore, right? Like, what makes them not healed? I feel like if somebody walks around saying fuck these niggas, that's what they mean and that's what they said. It doesn't mean you're actually meeting every nigga and saying fuck these niggas. Like, nobody does that. I've seen people do it, but they do it while they're still going through hurt. I've never encountered a woman who stayed in fuck these niggas mind space forever. I've never seen that. Women usually heal and then they date somebody else, and they even express, oh, I was hurt in the past, and then a nigga do it again and they might be like, fuck these niggas. I just think that society, especially with women, and I guess it's because it's a patriarchal society, they kind of set women up for the okie doke. Like, you need to be forgiving. This whole thing with the avoidant attachment styles and the anxious attachment style, and everybody's trying to make avoidance look like human beings that have feelings, and anxious people need to heal too. Anxious people are not withholding communication. So to me, it's not a matter of who's right and who's wrong and you're able to compare them. I think it's just more effective to inform people about avoidant people. And this is how we got to this point in the first place. telling women, okay, men are going to be men. Like, if you want to keep a man, don't talk his head off. If you want to keep a man, because really you've been training us to deal with this avoidant attachment style, but men are not being trained in that way. And that's when it becomes a conversation of gender, because I'm not saying that there's none, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, you're not going to come across a lot of anxious men who are not, who crave communication, and women are just withholding it from them. So usually the avoidants are those narcissists that are just running from themselves, because you show up with needing all this communication as a mirror and reflecting to them who they really are by saying, oh no, that's not going to work for me, I need this. And then they're like, to deal with an avoidant, you can't do that. Why? And then when you had enough of suppressing your emotions and you come out like, no, I just want to be single. Everybody wishes on you. Girl, you're going to get that relationship that you want, girl. Just hang in there. You can't think all these niggas are like this. Like, coming from somebody who loves sociology and anthropology and the study of people and why they do what they do. Coming from you can't tell me that I shouldn't have learned anything, or I can't pick up pattern recognition, or I can't see the signs of something. You know what I mean? Because if I'm looking for signs, I'm being hyper vigilant when I could just see what you're doing. And because I'm not suppressing my emotions, that means that I'm like difficult and unlovable. I'll just be alone. If a woman is single, wow, she probably single because this and that. Why does not pretending to be healed, why does it equate to you're not healed if you can't pretend that your feelings aren't hurt? Your feelings will get better over time once you get further away from the what happened. And yes, you do have to go over what happened in your relationship to see where they went wrong and where you went wrong and all the other stuff, right? Because nobody's perfect. But it doesn't mean that you were completely wrong in your relationship. Women already do this. They just take the accountability for everybody and say, I could have been a better cook. I could have did this. I shouldn't have nagged him. I shouldn't have. When we know these niggas are playing with us in our face and not doing what they supposed to do, going to the next woman, going to the next one. Like, why do I have to be bitter because I see you? Why does, and yeah, I might be bitter if I'm in real time arguing with somebody that I laid down with, who I told that I loved, and they're calling me names and, doing things that they would never do to me in a relationship. Why wouldn't I be angry? I'm just saying, why wouldn't I be angry? And it only makes sense that you stop being angry after a while. So is there a difference between being healed and time passing? I don't think so. I think that you just have to get away from it, stop feeling those feelings, meet somebody else, give them a chance. But there's a chance that it's going to happen again. Why would you keep healing yourself to keep going through the same thing? And then you hear conversations about decentering men, and everybody's just like, those women who want to decenter men are bad. How about we figured out that niggas don't operate the way that we do? How about it is like, why do I have to keep healing and coming back and healing and coming back? Honestly, decentering men to me is the way to go, because you're not harboring hate. You're generalizing them based on their behavior and their patterns, which they have. And you're studying the fact that they don't think the way we do. They don't have emotions the way that we do. They don't like lengthy conversations. They don't like all this. And when you do that and you deal with them accordingly, you're being called something crazy. I think it's safe to say, for my sanity, I can no longer fall in love with men that are most likely, because it's happened in every relationship, doesn't matter how good you are to them, it doesn't matter, they're going to disrespect you by the end of it. You're going to get called names. They're going to catch amnesia. You're going to be called bitter because you're feeling your feelings and you're not pretending to be unbothered. Like, it never works out in your favor. So if this is bitter, then I'll be bitter. It's unfair to raise men to think now you're giving them acceptable titles, avoidant attachment style and their needs don't matter because your needs don't matter. So why are you considering somebody else's needs who would never consider yours? How many times in one lifetime should a woman be optimistic in dating men who are socialized to be selfish? At what point should a woman stop being optimistic? At what point is it okay to say, I don't want to be used anymore? I don't want to be used anymore. I don't want to show up for people and be kind and be loving and listen to them and motivate them and do all the things. Not saying that I'm perfect, right? But at what point does genuine concern for somebody be acknowledged throughout the relationship and not ignored once it's over? I don't know how other women are operating out here. I don't know. I know that if I'm annoying or if I'm doing something that you don't like and you say it to me, I'm healthy enough to try to change it. But when you don't do that, that's when I spot. One thing that I've recently learned about myself is that I will amp up anxious behavior and over talking when something is not right. And that might be the alexithymia, not knowing how I feel exactly, but sensing it and maybe talking to, like, because I'm looking at somebody and I don't quite know why I'm uncomfortable with them. So I'll start talking. I might start talking about something else. I might start talking about and just keep talking, but it's like it's making me uneasy because I'm processing something. And they do say autistic people process 43% more information than neurotypical people do. But I'm processing something that you're doing because you're not saying it. Your actions are not matching your words. And I'm also remembering people told me to hang in there, that, you know, and then I'm also have a heart. So I'm like, well, we did spend time together, so I am staying there waiting. But while I wait, I make myself look bad. But that's the answer. That's why it's done. Because they withhold the communication as a way to make you look bad, to make you yearn for it. It's narcissism. I'm not saying that they are narcissists. I'm saying they have narcissistic behavior. People who withhold communication intentionally know that it's going to make you spiral out of control and possibly do reactive abuse. That is why they do it. This is how you're in a relationship. You're confused the whole time and you're also trying your best, just playing with you like while you're confused. Autistic people are more susceptible to narcissists because of how we operate. The naivety, the genuine kindness, the genuine wanting to people please, maybe the abandonment because everybody leaves, you're socially awkward, you want to be near somebody. They pick up on your desperation for closeness and they play with it because they're unstable. I'm sharing this video because I suspect, like I've told you guys in other videos, that a lot of people in the Black community are on the spectrum. And I'm not saying everybody's autistic, but I do think like the symptoms with ADHD are kind of similar with autism. But I do think a lot of women out here are experiencing narcissistic abuse and then being turned around and being told, you know, what did you do wrong? Which is damaging. And this is why there's always gender wars online with men always saying, she did it too. They get you in a dirty position and then they say, oh, well, she did this too. Because it's something about narcissists. They crave the kindness, they crave the love, but it also pisses them off. It pisses them off that you are who you say you are. It pisses them off that you are so resilient, but it also, they love the resilient. They love that you're resilient and that you would do the perseveration and look at self, because they don't have to have anything to do with your healing. You can heal yourself by just being lighthearted, by separating yourself. So this is why the narcissists play that game where they go and they come and they go and they come. They're giving you time to heal yourself. And because you're just childish. You just like forgiving, you're loving, So they give you time to heal and then they come back with the same bullshit. That's a narcissist's wet dream. They can destroy something, and every time they come back, it's miraculously put together, and nobody is doing the work except for you. That's why I say it's dangerous. It's dangerous to keep telling women, well, you just hang in there. You keep talking to these narcissists, even though you recognize the pattern, even though you're trying to protect yourself. Everyone needs love. Everyone needs love, healthy love, not that love. So they say that when you go through narcissistic abuse, you need extensive therapy, because they are literally watching you and studying you so that they can make you look bad. Their intention is not to solve anything. Their intention is not to fix anything. So we can call things avoidant attachment style, but the reality is you're laying with the enemy. You're laying with somebody who wants to prove that you are not as nice as you say you are. So you're gonna come out of that situation ugly, because that was their intention. They want you to get down and dirty with them. And then you get out of the relationship and people are like, well, what did you do wrong? Well, I wouldn't know, because it was really never a genuine relationship. I was being played the whole time to be reactive for their enjoyment. Building a case for the other person to say, well, you did this, well, you did this, well, you said this, because I was confused. But if I was in a relationship with somebody who was communicative, I wouldn't have to figure out everything by myself, and then my behavior won't get frantic or erratic. Is my behavior ever abusive, like I'm trying to hurt you? No. And I'm so smart that when I've given up, you're going to think that I'm insulting you by accident when I'm doing that shit on purpose. Because at that point, you're playing with me. I recently just did that, and I had a good time, and they showed their self. Y'all look up the term Darvo. That happened. I became, oh, you're the abusive one. No, I'm being abusive now on purpose. I don't give no fucks, because I'm going to be the villain anyway, right? Like, I understand that I'm projected to be a lonely old woman with a lot of cats. I never had a cat. I actually am excited about possibly getting a cat, because I am a cat. That's my spirit animal, if you guys didn't know. But anyway, the thing is, I'm not gonna be gaslit out of the fact that I know I'm not perfect, and in order to fix something, we need to communicate. So if we can't communicate, we can't fix it. Unpopular opinion, you don't need to learn how to date avoidance. You need to avoid avoidance. You don't need to keep working on yourself and figuring out how to heal. You need to get away from the people who are hurting you, and then you will be happy. And then you won't be perseverating all the time. You won't feel so ugly, like, why can't I get over this? Get out of abusive situations, and then you'll be fine. Because that anxious attachment style doesn't walk around trying to hurt people. And I know that there's people out here that are unhealthily codependent. So I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who know they're not going crazy, who probably are on the spectrum and are more susceptible to abuse. That's what I'm talking to.